And sometimes the government sends up some airplane and drops some type of chemical and cause it to rain. Actually what happens, ordinarily all these nice trees, they produce some sort of grass that goes up, reacts with the clouds, and causes it to rain. We always thought that that there's no trees in the desert because it doesn't rain. But Prabhupada taught us that there's no rain in the desert because there's no trees. So we should be very careful about cutting down trees. It's like Vrindavan, it used to be Ban, now it's Griha Vrind. Here we see a little bit of forest, beautiful forest. So Barsana means to make it to rain. Just like we know Krishna's rain of mercy is there for everyone. But still, we need something or someone who will cause that rain of mercy to fall on us. That is Srimati Radharani. She's the Barsane Wali, the one who makes Krishna's rain of mercy come on us. And we know Prabhupada told us that his father every day would invite so many sadhus to take lunch. And he always asked them that you please bless my son that he become very nice devotee of? He didn't say Krishna, Srimati Radharani. So Prabhupada is the most dear because Radharani, she's the most merciful and most compassionate. Our Raghunath Das Goswami, the other day when we were at Radhakund, we saw his Bhajan Kutir and his Samadhi Mandir. He wrote, very nice line, Karunaya Vidravad Deha. Karuna means compassion. And we say Karunaya in Sanskrit, we put that ending, means from compassion or by compassion. Karunaya Vidravad. Vidravad means to melt. And Deha, you know Deha? Just like we know one verse from Bhagavad Gita, was that Dehinosmin yata dehe komaram jovanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhira tatra namuyate. Everybody knows this verse, nice. So Deha means body, Dehe means who lives in the body. So Karunaya Vidrava Deha. That Radharani, ordinary people, their hearts melt with compassion. But Radharani, her whole body melts with compassion. Her whole body melts with compassion. And Prabhupada has kept all that melted compassion inside his books. And devotees are going everywhere, all over the world, and sprinkling Radharani's melted compassion on all the fallen conditioned souls. So there's no more dear devotee to Radharani than Prabhupada. We're very, very fortunate. So in front of us we have one hill. Behind me we see there's another hill. This hill is the incarnation of Krishna called Bilasgar. Because Krishna, he can't live very far away from Radharani, so he's incarnated as this hill Bilasgar. And a little ways up this path, both the hills meet. There's not much room there, so we're speaking here, but you'll see the place. Where the two hills meet, it makes a very, very narrow pass. In Brijvasa we say Sankari Kor. And when we go there, we'll see this side of the mountain, this side is Brahma Parvat. And you all remember from the Brahma Vimohan Leela that when Brahma, he saw, so many hundreds of millions and trillions of Vishnu forms with so many sages and demigods dancing and singing their glories, and then suddenly the whole thing wound up. Then it says he fell down just like a blank rod. What do you say, Madhav? Golden. But what blank stick? All right, what kind of stick? Nobody remembers, huh? Golden. So Lord Brahma's complexion is golden. So when you go there and see these two mountains meet, these two hills meet, you'll see all the rocks on this side are yellowish in complexion. And since this is incarnation of Krishna, you'll see all the rocks on that side are blackish. You be sure to note it when you go there. And the other side of that narrow pass is a village called Chiksoli. What's it called? Chiksoli. This is the village of Chitralekha. In fact, on the other side of the mountain, there's another road, and there you can see beautiful Chitradevi Mandir is there. And Chiksoli is famous for milk, butter, yogurt, ghee, paneer, all these types of milk products. So every day Radharani comes down this little path and goes there through the pass into Chiksoli, and they collect all this butter, yogurt, ghee, and all these wonderful milk products. And then they come back through that pass. Now Krishna Chandra, he knows that Radharani and her Sakhis have gone through that pass. So he was herding his cows nearby here. So when they go through the pass, then he comes and blocks the path. And Radharani's coming with this big heavy pot of yogurt on her head. And we have one beautiful song. Maybe where's our Ram Strata? He knows that one? Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. You know that one? Yeah, so when we go through the pass, we'll sing that song. One of the verses is Hansa Gamani. It's just made of names of Radha and Krishna. One of the verses, Hansa Gamani. So Gamani means manner of walking. And Hans means swan. Now somehow or other, I lived almost 40 years in India. I never saw a swan. Maybe somewhere in South India I haven't been, or Himalayas somewhere, I don't know. But I've seen geese, ducks, everything else, but not swans. But all our scripture is full of Hans, you know. Hansavahan, Parmahams. Actually, in Brijbasa language, Parmahams is what we call space case. Oh, Parmahams. Hansavahan. Our whole scripture is filled of Hans. But I never saw Hans. Where did I see Hans? When we went to Switzerland, where all the money that Modi would like to get back to India is hiding. There, when we do Sankirtan on the lake, we see so many swans. So maybe you've never seen a swan walk, because Gamani means manner of walking. So Radharani, she walks like a swan. So she's got this big heavy pot on her head, and she's coming. If you see the swans, they walk like this. So Radharani's coming through the pass with this big heavy pot on her head. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he describes that the tinkling of Radharani's ankle bells is just like mist of tiny, tiny nectar droplets are being sprinkled on all beings, moving and non-moving, living or non-living. Ching, 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 ching. So she's coming through, and Krishna has blocked the pass. And she comes there and says, let us through. And Krishna says, Are, you girls are making a big profit, selling all this butter, milk, and yogurt and ghee. You don't give any tax to your king. And Radharani says, here my father is a king. We don't have to give tax to anyone. So then Madhamangal, he becomes the advocate for Krishna. And Lalita Sakhi, she becomes the advocate for Radharani. Now Madhamangal says, Prisabhanu may be the king here, but the king of the whole of Braj is Nanda Baba. So you have to give tax. And Lalita Sakhi says, just see how puffed up. Kitna gamandi hai. See how puffed up. You guys were living there in Gokul. We were going to go on Monday. But your little friend here, and he created so much trouble, stealing butter, milk, and yogurt, and ghee. And everybody complained to King Kamsa. King Kamsa came with 100 cavalry soldiers, and you fled away from that place, crossed over the Jamuna, and Brisabhanu Maharaj, out of the kindness of his heart, he gave a little tiny corner of his kingdom for you to stay, and now you're claiming to be the kings of the whole place. Just see how puffed up. Kitna gamandi hai, huh? Mother Manga says, wait a minute, where did you get that story? We never heard that story. You're preaching deviant philosophy. We're going to the GBC. Nanda Baba's the king of the whole of Braj, and so you'll have to give tax, and for every argument that you girls make, we're going to double the tax. Huh? And Lalita says, what about you guys? You're taking your cows everywhere and eating all the grass. You should pay tax for that. All right, now we're going to double the tax, and you girls are going everywhere picking all the flowers. We're going to tax you for. We're going to double the tax and tax you for the flowers also. So like this, the advocates are making the arguments back and forth and back and forth. And you have to understand, this time, Radha and Krishna, they're just like little children. They're making the arguments back and forth. Radharani is getting tired of holding this pot on her head of yogurt. So she gives Nandanandan a little push like this. And you know what happens when a little boy gets angry, right? Because Nandanandan gets a little push like that. So little boy gets angry. It's like an atomic bomb has gone off in the heart, you know. And he just grabs the mouth of that pot and pulls it off of Radharani's head. And Radharani, she grabs the other side of that pot. And we just described what happens when little boys get angry. We're afraid to describe what happens when little girls get angry. She's shooting darts at Nandananda with her crossed eyebrows, and they begin to push. And Krishna begins to push, and she begins to push. And she screams, and all the Sakhis get behind her and push, and all the Sakhas get behind Krishna and push, and they're pushing back and forth in this, you know, and the cowherd boys are pulling on the saris of the Sakhis, and Sakhis pulling on the Sikhas of the cowherd boys. They're going up and down and up and down. Finally, Radharani, she screams, and all her Sakhis push, and push, and push, and Krishna sees they're going to break through, and there's a big stone there. So he takes that pot and pow! He smashes it on that stone. Now you know how yogurt's a little greasy, right? Chickeny. So this happened 5,000 years ago. But when you go through the past, you'll still see the grease marks of that yogurt coming down the sides of that stone. Coming down the sides of that stone. Although it happened 5,000 years ago. And every year, when you go to the other side, there's a big platform. Every year on the Trayodasi. First there's Astami, then there's Kadasi, then Dwadasi, today, then Trayodasi. And Trayodasi, in Nandagaon, you will find only jalebis in all the sweet shops. All the Brijbasis in Nandagaon, they eat jalebis and come here. And everybody comes. And when you see that, when you go through that core, you just imagine, not one single square inch is empty. There's Brijbasis everywhere. And on that platform, there's one fellow named Dan Bihari, and he's singing all old Brijbasi songs about this pastime. And some boys are all dressed up like the Sakhis and Krishna and the Sakhas. And they're playing, doing this play. And Dan Bihari, he's a big silver cane, he's big fat, he's singing and singing. And there's boys dressed up like Sakhis, they come up and give him gulcha. Gulcha means a little like that, you know. And then he chases them with his stick. Then all the Chiksoli people, They rip off tree branches and weeds and things, and they come through, they pick up Radha and Krishna on their shoulders, and they take that big pot, and they come through. The only place that there's any space is just right through the Sankari core. And they come down the Sankari core, and they smash that pot of yogurt, and everybody dives over everybody else trying to get some. And there's a secret path to go up to Radharani's temple and take darshan. A beautiful pool bungalow is there. So we're just at the end of rainy season. We got a little this morning. I was worried on the way here. Anyway, somehow Radharani has been merciful and just made it cool and perfect for taking pictures. All the shadows are very light or not so harsh now. So anyway, you see this path, especially after rainy season, with all the green trees. And you'll see some incredible, these are called dungar trees, just hanging over the edge of the path. In fact, this path, does that look like part of the material world? Do you think that's part of the material world ahead of us? In fact, I don't know. If we go down that path, we may never come back. If you want, you can go back to the bus and wait. If they don't come, I don't know, Deena Bandhu took them down this path and they never came back. Otherwise, excuse me, you can go with us. So you want to go back to the bus or you want to go with us? All right. So we'll go up to that Sankari core. You'll try to make it through. And you just have so much fun just trying to walk through this path. You just we're in this path. Srimati Radharani ki Jai Jai Sri Radhe.